Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And we've got another new choke out here today to test. And it's one that a lot of you guys have recommended that I try. Because you've said, hey, it's pretty cheap and you've seen some good performance out of it. So I ought to pick one up and see what it could do. So I picked one up. Now we've got it to test. So we'll see what kind of results we can actually get. Because I'm also thinking we should see some pretty decent results through it as well. But for the shell I've got here today, I brought out some of the Winchester Longbeard XR loads. These are a 12 gauge 3-inch 1 7/8 ounce load of number 5 shot, moving about 1,050 feet per second. So a pretty standard kind of old reliable longbeard shell here. So to get a baseline with this new choke, I figured this is a pretty decent option anyway. And as for the setup I've got out here today, I brought out the Remington 1187 here, which has also been a very good turkey patterning setup. So we know we've got a good shell and a good shotgun to test. But as for that new choke, I picked up one of these. This is an HS Strut. It's their XT12 non-ported turkey choke. It's a 665 constriction, so pretty standard as far as 12 gauge and turkey chokes go. And from what I gather, these HS Strut chokes have been around for a good number of years without very many changes to them. So we'll see what this can do, since it is a pretty basic overall just 665 turkey choke. So we'll see what it does at like $24 or whatever for this. We'll see if it's actually worth it or not, or how decent or how terrible it performs. But as for the test today, everything is the same as usual. The turkey target is at 40 yards. I've got the chronograph, so we'll be able to get our velocity. So let's get you guys a view of the target. We'll take the shot, look at the chrono, and then go check out our results. On paper, this combination should perform pretty decently. But I guess let's go over here and take this shot and see what kind of results we can actually get out of this HS Strut 665 today. Okay, so that shell gave us 1,069 through the chrono. The box claims 1,050, so yeah, we're pretty well right where we should be. So definitely nothing out of the ordinary up here as far as velocity goes. But how does our pattern actually look down there at 40 yards? Let's go down and take a look and see what kind of results we got. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And as you can see, that is about as perfect as you could ever ask for out of a lead longbeard shell like that. You have a really nice hot main core area of your pattern there. The birchwood casey doesn't look all that pretty. It did some weird flaky stuff again, but as you can clearly see, probably at least 90% of your shot is actually on that turkey paper there. Around the edges, we do see a little bit of sporadic stuff, but nothing that I'd call unusual for a lead shell and a longbeard shell at that. But for a lead 5, you can't really complain too much about that central core area of your pattern right there. That would absolutely be a 40-yard turkey pattern all day long. I would not be scared in the slightest to hunt with that pattern. And for a $25-ish, very basic, kind of old school design 665 in that HS Strut UnderTaker XT that we brought out here today, you really can't complain too much about that. That would absolutely get it done all day long. So I definitely say we're off to a pretty good start with that HS choke. And a lot of you guys said it does really well with a lot of your little bit more basic shells. So for this being a Longbeard 5, that's pretty much the standard when it comes to lead shells for most people, and clearly it's more than good enough to get the job done. Now of course we could clean up a few of these little sporadic flyers, I guess you would call them, around the edges, so it's not 1,000% perfect, but for that kind of a core area out of lead 5s, I'm not complaining. So definitely looking very good overall, and there's really not even a ton of gaps and voids in that pattern either until you get outside of the actual turkey paper there, because through that main middle area there's nothing in the way of voids. It's all pretty even and uniform. So now I'm really excited to see what that HS UnderTaker can actually do with some other shells as well. Because if we're off to a start that looks pretty decent like this, we should see some more really good results out of it. So overall today, definitely calling this a win and a pretty good looking pattern. Okay, here's the wad from that shell, and pretty typical longbeard wad. We did have this one petal tear a little bit on us. That's not completely unheard of with these longbeard wads since they are so thin, but the rest of the wad doesn't look like it snagged on anything or had any pinholes or anything like that in it. So who knows, that could have happened when it hit the ground and tumbled or something. But nothing stuck down in there except a little bit of that powdery, waxy type buffer material stuff they use, and looks very standard overall here. Definitely nothing too special to note except for that one petal, which clearly I don't think it really affected our pattern too much. So looking pretty average overall here for a longbeard wad. Alright y'all, well, what did you think about that pattern right there? Absolutely a turkey killing pattern out to 40, 45 yards, and you could probably push that to 50 as well and still have a pretty decent looking pattern. And for a lead load, a longbeard shell, can't really complain too much about that, especially from a $25 kind of old school, very basic 665 choke like that HS UnderTaker is. There's definitely nothing special about it. So to see a budget choke perform like that, there's not really too much we can complain about there, that's for sure. I would not be scared in the slightest to hunt with that kind of a pattern. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little bit surprised one way or the other? Have you tested one of these HS Strut chokes, whether it be the UnderTaker or another variant that they have now? If so, what kind of results have you gotten? And what other shells might you want to see through this 665 UnderTaker? Let me know all that down below. But at the end of the day, that's a turkey killing pattern we can't argue with, I'd say. But with that being said, I've got some more patterning to do for you guys out here today, so I'm gonna get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be down in the description if you're interested in it. But I'm gonna get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.